Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I just wanted to thank you guys. Thank everyone for just the comments and the support recently. I really appreciate it. And someone wrote a question that was really, it was on point. They were asking about their child and just about the school system and the fact that their son, who happens to be pretty young, and I think that we all go through this. This kind of goes into the energy of thinking and talking about sacrifice and taking responsibility of certain types of knowledge. When you don't know, it's almost like a good thing, because then you can kind of remain, unknowing. You can remain ignorant to certain energy. But in the world that we live in now, rather than get into a whole diaspora, a whole breakdown about the public school system, because there is a very unique and intricate history about it. What I'd like to say more than anything is that we all know and have come to the agreement that not only are they our military institutions and installations, but like Planned Parenthood, it's not to say that today great things can't come of these things. Women do have the right to make certain decisions and have certain energy to their disposal. But that doesn't also or always make it, when something is founded on an energy that's really just about, let's say, wiping out a certain demographic, or creating balance. I was listening to a rabbi talk the other day, and he was just very matter of fact about certain things that take place. And this knowledge is very palpable, it's very out there, it's very known, but it's almost like ground bones in McDonald's, like no one really is taking these things to heart and saying, wow, if these things are being said, there might be an ounce of truth. My whole thing is, even if it's a crock, if there's an ounce of truth in it, then it's for me to at least, have my light bulb go off and say, all right, even if I don't need to have a fish fillet at McDonald's, I don't need to have French fries once a year. Like, no, not at all, not ever. So it's been over 8 years that I've had McDonald's, or just about, because I remember I had a fish fillet right when Amor was born. So it's been about 7 years, right? But that's honesty. Other than that, there's so much now in the world that we know about, but we're still not necessarily taking responsibility for how it's affecting our children, how it's affecting our families, because of the convenience factor. I often said, I'm grateful that I was able to take certain time off, but that time off, I was broke. I was literally like taking a bag of kale and stretching it out for a couple days, and using the same quinoa. And I was literally, we were at a space where I remembered feeling not only ostracized, but we talk about all these things, of these energies of betrayal and of feeling as though you're being isolated. A lot of this is also who you align your energy with and who you choose to share your energy with. And in New York, I wasn't as responsible and as keen as saying, hey, I see certain signs, let me shut it down right away. You give people the benefit of the doubt. You want to get to know people, all these great things in terms of, gaining friends and all this energy. But what I realized is a lot of people at that time were really dishonest about their intent in being around myself as well as a seer. And it was only up to me to say, okay, if I'm not going to want this energy around me, then I'm not going to be able to associate with it. Meaning, I can't be around it. I can't work with energy that works with it. That's how extreme it has to be, because once you align yourself with something that is malefic, that is charlatan-like, that is just there for numbers, for likes, for whatever, then you have to say, well, if I'm with that, then that's also what I'm entertaining. So in making decisions to not only move out here, but to not entertain energy that seemed pimp-like or seemed dishonest and seemed extremely imbalanced, we got punished for it. And I say that to say the punishment was, let's just act like these people aren't here, and the contributions that they make are not here. They're devoid, whatever. And this is what I mean in speaking about the third and the fourth and the second chakra, in terms of the community, in terms of the things that you rely on, not only in your family, but in your peers that you grow up with. You think, hey, I grew up with you for 10 years. This is going to equate to some type of loyalty. Not always, and that's not what's given in the guidebook of adult life. You can be around people, and once you see, let's say it's 4 or 5 years or 10 years, there is no expiration on the truth. And people can only hide for so long, and eventually the truth will come out, and it's up to you when you see those signs to make a decision. So, like with school, extremely difficult to say I'm going to homeschool my child, because you have to sacrifice your time, you have to be there during the day. That means you either have to have enough money to start your home business, have a home business, or have someone paying your bills or figuring out how you're going to get your bills paid while you raise your child and homeschool them. Because it takes time from the morning, from when they wake up at 7:30. If you've got to go to work and you have a good 9 to 5, you end up feeling as though you're settling, or you're figuring out what's closest, what's most convenient. And convenience is not always what's best for our kids, but it's so difficult in today's society to say, hey, there's a school down the block that's a public school and everybody sends their kids to it. This is the way that children learn. This is the ritual that children go through. That's their job. Kids' jobs are to go to school. And for a while, I do feel that that is the case. But if schools are that malefic, if schools' teachers are not well, they're not happy with their jobs, you don't find that one teacher that really gives a shit about your kid or about what they do, then you've got to always micromanage that. So by the time you're micromanaging the energy to just figure out who's watching and who's teaching your kid, that's the same energy that you can use to homeschool them. But there is no support, and we live in a society where everything is based on coupled energy. So people will work and be on people's platforms that they know ain't got no good for them, but because their numbers will be high, they still think of it as a way of giving to the community. Giving to the community, honestly, is giving to not only oneself, but strengthening one's own pillar so that you can be of service to others. You can't want to homeschool other people's children unless you have a basement, unless you have a space, unless you have a community, a number of people in the same aligned energy, meaning that think the same like you, that are like, you know what, we're gonna all pitch in $20 a week, the food is gonna be a wrap, that's done. Vegan, vegetarian, whatever. That takes collective energy, meaning it takes more than one. And what I witnessed living in New York is that people like being associated with the one that initiates, but rarely knows how to contribute. And that means kind of knowing your place. Not everybody can be in front of the camera and still get the set for the play designed, right? You have your actors and you have your backstage hands. Every actor knows that your backstage grips and your hands are just, if not more important than the people on set. Because without your set hands, you don't have lighting, you don't have sound, you don't have anything. So what I witnessed is people that really didn't value anything, but it wasn't for me to say, hey, you don't value anything. Hey, like a girl, like you're replacing energy that really can't be replaced. What do people do when they break up? They either, if they're in the wrong, you know what I mean, or they feel as though they've done wrong, they try to replace or circumvent the energy that person that they were in the relationship with. And that's called, like when you see a girl and she's like, you know what, I'm done with this dude, but she gets with the same Indian dude with the same dot, like it's the same cookie cutting energy, it's just in a different person. What I witnessed was that taking place with not only a group of men, but with elders, people 55 and plus, that I pedestaled. I put on certain platforms because they were brilliant, they did great work. Remember, like all children that have parents, we all come from a background, we're all individuals, we all have our wants and needs and our little issues, and I think that when you are younger than people and you witness like, wow, this elder that I so, look up to actually, invested their energy in someone that didn't have as much of an acumen, that doesn't know as much, but maybe it's because they're not as challenging to them personally. Maybe it's because, they can work with them a little bit better. It's like that old saying, someone that can't be used can't be trusted. Because if a man can't be used or a woman can't be used, then what good are you to someone? That's how people deal with people nowadays. And in witnessing that, rather than take it personal, which I did for a while, I couldn't stay in that space of taking it personal. I just said, you know what? Whoever wants to replace or act like, the work that I know that we did or that you did is not here, that's fine. We have to have faith in what we've done and move on to greener pastures, meaning be the community and attract what we are. Not people that don't think like us, that act like us, but, truly have nothing to prove. And that's very difficult to find amongst people that grow up in inner city communities, because we're usually broke. We usually are striving to get money. And when you're striving to get money with no integrity, it's like a car running with like explosive acetane in it. It's not gas. It's gonna blow up because you're not even thinking. It's like they asked this crazy question on camera the other day with these kids, like, would you let your mother die or would you suck a dick? Like, would you suck a dick or would you let your mama die? This is why I'm not sending my child to school, because he don't need to be around people that even think to ask no dumb questions like that. And the fool is the one that would even answer it, because we live in a time where they're trying to get every little black boy to just want to be gay and want to think about doing stuff that's homosexual. Why can't we celebrate the hetero? Why can't there be balance? I get it. We're here to support the transgenders and people that want to feel like themselves. But there's still old school families that are like, don't want their sons to cut their penises off. And those grandparents have every right to express their opinion, but also know that in doing so, they might cut themselves off from their grandchildren. And this is a huge thing in our communities. Like, I'm willing to evolve because we're in a space where we have to. I don't want to not be able to think about certain things because this is the way of the world. But it's not to still say I don't have my own personal beliefs and I don't raise my son in hopes that he sees the value in such. You understand? It's like everything that's devoid of spirituality is on a high right now. And I think that that's not something that was paid attention to. What was paid attention to was keeping a certain energy up and playing a certain role. Like, people act as though because they're doing certain cultural works that they equate to being Moors. That has nothing to do with doing certain sovereign works. Sovereign works has nothing to do with your culture or declaring your nationality. But when you're talking to people that don't know the difference, you're either going to waste your time trying to beat it into their heads or say, you know what, this energy ain't for this group of people because they can't even think outside the box. And I'm not here to make them say, hey, you don't think outside the box. I want everybody to think the way they like to and what brings them joy and comfort. But I also don't want to limit my thoughts based on the limitation of someone else or a group like's energy. And that's what school becomes. It becomes you compensating and saying, hey, I know this, that, and the third, but I don't have a choice. And that's where we are in the world. We do have a choice. You can choose not to answer the question. You can say, that's some dumb shit to ask me. I'm not answering that. But everything is peer pressured. Everything is, if you're not down with this channel, then you're not really doing the work. If you don't publicize what you're doing, then you're not a part of a community. Like, who places these rules and regulations on anything? If a community is not well, if there are, people that are displaying two sets of personalities or multiple sets of personalities, you're having people that are very, very thirsty to look like they're about something, but nothing in their wallets, nothing in real time expresses or shows that. You have to be the wise one to say, you know what? People say, oh, I'm not down with that, but all they do is chill with the energy that's associated with. So if you're not down with it, then why did you open up your platform? Why did you co-sign this? Because you were desperate for money. You were desperate to keep this energy going, when really, sometimes what's good is to say, you know what? Do we really want to be responsible for replacing something when we know it's not of merit? Now, through time, thank God, through time, I think that people are becoming more humble and saying, wow, I didn't think that I was going to be in the mix of that. When, if it's a party mix and you put yourself in that bowl and cheerlead and wear jerseys with the person's name, then you're a part of it. The same thing with schools. You can't not support a school system or the energy of school and know about public schools, but still say, wow, I'm going to send my kid there tomorrow. We've got to say enough is enough. We've got to be able to take L's, whether it's we're broke, whether it's you trade your clothes in for a couple. Like, I have a degree, a mass, all of these things that never equated to me getting jobs. And it's for you to figure out not only how not to be angry, but it's really hard when you see your child suffering in school and you know they don't have these problems at home. You know that they don't have this violence at home. Those are signs that they're not happy there, that they're not well, that they don't feel comfortable. If you know your child is not violent, but when you go to pick them up from school, all you hear are reports of violence, then someone is either A, lying, B, setting your child up, or C, your child really is in this position, but when he's home, he doesn't even know how to express it because it's difficult to even bridge to when at home they're either on a device where it's difficult to communicate to mommy because when mommy's cooking when she gets home, she's got to put, the child's either in front of the television. So how much active time are we really spending with our kids? And that's something that not only I had to swallow the L on and say, I'm not going to be able to do this, that, and the third and be with my child. So hip hop hooray for people that are realizing that they've now got to spend active time with their children. Hip hop hooray for people that, and I'm not saying that condescendingly, like honestly, I'd be like, yo, thank God that the circle comes around. You want people to grow. You want people to realize the things that they've done that might have created schisms in honesty. You want your elders to be annoyed at the things that they placed invested energy in. Because once you do that, then it's a run. Now you have to say, wow, we cheerleaded this, that, and the third, and this, that, and the third, there was no reason to cheerlead. I didn't do that because I saw certain signs that said, you know what? I can see what's going on, and people are just really hurt that they can't be a part of something once someone knows that they're lighting candles and doing seances and doing a whole bunch of effery to just be toxic or to wish harm on someone. And that's something that those people are paying for now and have to be responsible for and have to say, like, what, remix it like they didn't do those things? You did. And unfortunately, it tainted something that could have been beautiful, but hopefully something new will bloom from it. And that's what's great about life. And that's what's great about learning about everything in life, is we've got to say to ourselves, the sacrifices that we make, we're making them because we want to preserve something that we love. If we love our children and we really want them to be mentally well, and we don't want any external influence to really, like, taint their sense of worth and all these things, then we might have to figure out one person on the block that wants to watch them during the week and pay that one person. We've got to have a solution. Who is home? Who can do so and so? We all drop our children off, then we've got to put a little bit of money in this woman or this man's pockets that's watching our kids because we know the value of protecting them. But that's very difficult to do, and that's usually why there is isolation and people that have little groups. And that's really what it is. The older you get, it's not about the huge groups. It's about the little pockets of energy that you build up, that you can rely on, that you know is loyal to you. And if that means not being seen and not being a part of a huge conglomerate, then so be it. Your energy will grow, especially if it's seated and rooted in love. And it's also to say that those that have harmed, it's not to say that you don't forgive and that you don't want them to grow and be fabulous in whatever they do. I'm grateful to see people still wanting to do certain works or learning from their mistakes. But that doesn't mean that I or whomever was tainted or was hurt has to then feel like I have to work with those people for it to equate being a part of said such community. My community is myself, and whoever I meet, I try to help, I try to share my wisdom with, and I try to put on to certain things if they're open to it. And I also want to learn from. So that means I've got to be around people that know a little bit more, right? And that means that I might have to humble myself and say, I can't be around some things that are just comfortable. It's good to sometimes put yourself in energy circuits where you're not known, where you don't have a title or a name, because these are things that people rely on. And what are you in the cosmos without your uniform, without these cultural identity markers? That's basically it. So unfortunately, raise your kids. It might be difficult, but we have to take responsibility. And I say, you know, take your kids out, rip them out. You know, I never started it, so it's not something that, you know, as much as I've wanted to at times, I've been like, no, gymnastics, this, mute, like, you just stay home and you figure it out. And you write people like me that hopefully can encourage and say, I've been there where I didn't make money for 4 or 5 years, but, you know, a little goes a long way, and you've got to value what's important to you and what you're willing to invest in. And if it's our children, then we might have to give up the dream job to actually have the dream results in our children and our families. Peace out.